All right. So you did something kind of cool that you're way too humble to bring up yourself that I wanted to ask you a little bit about. So first of all, dude, you're doing pretty good, aren't you?
I am. I've had a great year. So
You have had a great year.
I looked back. I have had zero goose eggs this year for each month,
Uh,
right?
yeah, I get
And
it. I get it. Closings every month.
yeah, in growth, professional growth, personal growth, loan count growth, real estate agent partner growth, um, adding pieces to the Octopus marketing method into my business growth. It's been a remarkable year.
You man.
So
So I'm going to get you to describe some of that. But so the thing that you did that you're way too humble to bring up yourself is, I don't know if you knew I was going to bring this up, but you're in this group we call the Alliance.
mhm.
And in the Alliance, we made uh, 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 we talked about how you have to have a why. Like, why am I doing this?
Right.
And if the why is strong enough, it'll happen. If the why is not strong enough, it won't happen. And maybe it doesn't need to happen. Like say, hey, I'm going to walk to, I don't know, Arkansas next week. Why? I have no reason whatsoever. I
Right.
love Arkansas, but I'll just fly there, right? And so since I don't have a why big enough, I'm not gonna walk to Arkansas, right?
Right.
So in your case, the why you gave, we were talking about in the alliance building up your business, and you made the statement that you made a commitment to donate $15,000 to a nonprofit organization that's
Hmm.
close and dear to your heart. And I heard you wrote that check.
Yeah. Yeah, that happened. And so it's like I'll give myself a pass for failing or not meeting a goal. But you had us call those people, or if we were going to do this,
Yeah.
call them and commit to, tell them that this is what we're going to do. So I called the CEO of that charitable organization and talked to her, and I said, this is what I'm going to do. Here's the deadline for doing it. And 15 grand, 15,000 is the dollar amount that I committed to. And I met that goal um in the by well middle of October. So it paid out 1st of November. That check to me came. So Christmas is coming. And I actually and met with her in Pensacola 3 weeks ago just to finalize it and formalize it. And um, it's kind of snowball because they're looking at trying to create a matching fund for that and do some stuff with their donor base and in the Christmas season. So it's just it's that little gift has legs, and that organization is very dear to me. So I'm it's exciting. I've
You know,
never
you know the the funny thing. Wait, go ahead. I'm sorry, I interrupted you. You've never what?
I've never been able to write a check like that ever to anybody, and so that's a good feeling. That was a good first.
It is a
So
good feeling. See that, and that gave you the why to do the activity to close more loans, and you close more loans, and part of it went in your pocket, part of it went in your savings account, part of it
yep.
put food on your table, and 15 grand of it went to the organization of your choice. So, dude, so when we put the so in in this podcast we primarily talk about how to close more loans without breaking a sweat, right? How to do
Hmm.
it the easiest possible way, and working on the things to help make sure it happens. Um, so for you making that commitment of I'm going to donate 15 grand and calling the CEO and pledging it, now when it came time to do your loan getting activity, it's like I've got to do this because I
Right.
told yeah I told them they can go ahead and insert buy that thing and put it on the credit card because I'm going to be paying them this much money. So that's a huge motivation, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I'm not about to let them down. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, it's that was, put that on my dream board out in front of me, and like
Yeah.
literally, and I put that on the list, and it's just staring at me every day. Here's what I'm doing, here's why I'm doing it, and yeah.
Yeah. Good for you, man. So we're talking with Nathan Carver right now. Nathan, where are you located at, man?
So I'm in North Dallas, about most 6 months in one day of the year, and then I'm in Florida the rest of the time, so over in the
Oh,
Pensacola area.
what's a beautiful area in Pensacola.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I go back and forth between both cities, states.
Now, do you do business both in Texas and the Panhandle also?
I do. And it's almost 50-50. Um,
How long have you been
it,
doing that?
a year and a half.
Okay.
I started that a year and a half ago. Just I fell into it because a real estate partner in Texas had a buyer here that was also buying a second home in Florida, which is Pensacola area, which is where I'm from. So it was organic, natural conversation. And then I was just like, well, I've got my foot in the door. Let's go ahead and see what we can do in this area. And I go there. I grew up there, so I go back there often, and often enough that I thought, this would be a worthwhile um, path to go down in working both areas. And so, yeah, it's
Interesting.
about.
So let's talk about that for a minute. So you're in Texas 6 months one day, so that you keep your Texas, your resident of Texas as opposed to being a resident of Florida, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So I homestead in Texas. So there's a down payment assistance programs that require the loan officer to homestead in the state that in Texas to do those loans. No, I can't do DPA in Florida because I'm not homesteaded there, and Florida
Right,
has that
right, right.
requirement too. But I have someone on my team that is, and so
So you
that
just pass the lead to them
I
and let
just
them let them.
let them run with it, and
Yeah,
takes care of the
awesome,
team.
awesome. So with you being with you living in one state and getting half your loans from another, and we're not talking about, you live on the border and you just like Philadelphia to New Jersey or Kansas City, it's really in two states. You're
Yeah,
talking about like the substantial distance from
seven
each other.
761 miles.
761 miles, give or take.
Yeah.
How do you like when you first started to ramp up? So you had the Dallas business going first, and then you went
Yes.
and bought your second home in on a in the Pensacola, which is a Florida beach in the Panhandle, very beautiful up there. How did you originally start getting loans referred from there? Were you local, like when you went to Pensacola? Did you go around and knock on real estate agents' doors, or did you do it by phone from Dallas? How did you originally build it up?
So it all phone in the beginning, and since I knew I was going to Florida, I started calling in the Pensacola area, and I did set when I first did this, I started setting face-to-face coffees with realtors in the Panhandle for that time that I knew I was going to be there. Uh, Very time consuming, a lot of driving all over the Panhandle in of Florida, and so I switched to just doing Zoom and phone calls across the board because I had the same challenge in Dallas from where I live to go anywhere. I'm out in the country. You got to go an hour just to meet somebody. So uh, I just went Zoom and phone call across the board, and at that point, I I was the fundamentals. My number one, is my follow up, communicating, um, calls and texting and emails with my real estate partners. They don't care necessarily where I'm at. It's the product. It's the what I'm doing to help them with their next referral is has been the most important thing. And that's so I switched to going completely digital.
So
And
all your meetings now are Zoom versus face to face.
yes,
So you can do more of them because you don't have to spend time driving.
that's
Do they
right.
do they convert as well for you?
It's a little bit less than a face to face, but I can get a lot more of them in. Um,
Yeah.
a
So
lot more in.
so there's a net increase in doing
Yeah,
it.
there's definitely a net increase. I mean, it gives me an extra 2 hours a day on those days that I would have those on-site visits, that I can focus on making calls. And I have a target number daily of how many calls I personally want to make. That's 42 outbound calls to realtors, new to me. I have a concierge service that's also making calls daily. So that's to me, that's bonus, but I know what I personally want to do. But I have realtor partners in Miami that I've never met face to face, but it's all been through just finding qualified real estate agents, people that I know, like, and can trust and can do life with, and it's working.
So what? So how did? So like when you're living in Dallas, you're living in Pensacola part of the year. You're calling on Pensacola agents. So you called on Miami agents too. What prompted you to call into the? I mean, what was there something special about that one, or did that happen to be a listing agent of a property in Pensacola? And for somebody that might not be familiar, Pensacola is in the Panhandle state. Miami is at the very tip. That's probably 5, 6, 700 miles. Like it's a long
Yeah.
way. So what prompted that?
So okay, so Tuesday calls prompted this. Let me chase this down. So on Tuesdays, I call everybody that touches my loan. And one of the calls on this rabbit trail was the insurance agent on a property that I'm closing here in Texas.
Okay.
His dad lives in South Florida. His dad and mom are buying a home. So he introduced me to his mom and dad to do the financing. And I said, "Well, by the way, who are you working with the realtor?" And they said, "Yeah, we've got a wonderful realtor." And I said, "Well, would you mind introducing me to that real estate agent? One of the things I'm known for is I communicate with everybody that touches these loans." So they're like, "Absolutely." So they introduced me to Tiffany, the realtor. And so every week I've been calling Tiffany, the realtor. And now I've got a real relationship just from making those calls and asking, when I'm talking to that insurance agent, I'm frogging them, and it built out. That opportunity would have never come out had I not asked. And so now I'm in South Florida.
That's very interesting. So let me just clarify this. So you were doing a property in Pensacola
In Texas.
and Dallas. So you're doing
Yeah,
doing a deal in Texas, and you're calling the insurance agent on the deal because every Tuesday you call the borrower, the co-borrower, the listing agent, the buying agent, the title company, the attorney, the insurance agent, and ever telling everybody, "Hey, we're still on track for closing on time."
correct.
And in talking with that insurance agent, just giving an update of the deal, you found out his or her parents were buying a house in Miami.
Hmm.
That Texas insurance agent referred you to the one in Miami. So then you pre approved them, and then
Yep,
they hooked you up with their agent. And now you're starting to get referrals from their agent. And it's
that's
all from
right.
just making your Tuesday update calls.
That's right.
Interesting on how that works, isn't it?
It is. And that's an over $1 million purchase price.
Wow.
I'm just so for Christmas. They're gonna close in Christmas. So I'm like,
It'll be a good Christmas for everybody.
yes, sir. It will. And yeah, and that's how Tuesdays go. That I've learned through the alliance and getting really good at my goal. I set the goal 100% ask whoever I talk to, I'm asking them for business. And in tailoring that ask, well, with the real estate agent, uh or with the insurance agent, it led to a contract. That was really cool. When I called that real estate agent, I was like, "Hey, I'm representing so and so. I'm about to email you a qualified letter, pre-approval letter, to ensure great use of your time this weekend when y'all go look at houses." And she's like, "What?" So I'm like, "Yeah," and that's how I do things. You're gonna really enjoy what I do. Well, I'll talk to you next week. Set them up successfully for that. And I don't know, that was a fun one. That was just that's just part of one of those. That's why you do the daily success plan. That's why,
Yeah.
because it's gonna. And now I'm in Central or South Florida.
Good for you, man. Hey, how many units are you averaging these days? What's a kind of a common month for you? Like what kind of how many units are you doing?
So for the year, for the whole year, I'm averaging six
Good for you, man.
closings. I
Good for
had
you,
a
buddy.
August, October, September, and October were progressively better. Like last month was my best month ever in the industry, in the industry, in my career, in my personal
How
income.
many was that?
So there were nine, with three that carried over into this month. So they, for reasons, they had to be extended. But they're going to close. Actually, one of them closed on the second, and then the other two will close.
So
Uh,
that's 12 for October.
yes,
Is that okay? Good for you, man. And what's how was September?
September. There were seven closings in September.
Good for you, man. So 7 September, 12 October, and is your November as we're recording this at the very beginning of November. November shaping up pretty good for you.
Yeah, November's shaping up good. For November, I'm averaging. I'm averaging about 9 leads a week. Um,
Oh, and that's referred leads.
Referred, yeah, warm referred
Yeah,
leads. Yeah, there's some other
yeah.
stuff coming in from other different at tentacles of the octopus. But from warm referrals, I'm averaging 9. Like I had 4 over the weekend, and I'm like, this is great.
Good
Um,
for you, man.
yeah,
Good for you. And closing 6, 7 deals. So 12 in October, I don't know, probably puts you in the top 1% in the nation. But even at 6 and 7, that's probably like the top 2, 3% in the nation. So
that's amazing.
good for you, Nathan. Nate, and I tell you, man, it couldn't happen to a nicer guy. So, like, what was it like? I don't know, a year ago or so. Like, have you seen an increase or a decrease or stayed about the same here recently?
Um, I think I feel like the business is picking up. Like, but I also know that I'm talking to more realtors. Um, Personal growth, getting over call reluctance, other things up here, up in the
Yeah,
brain. The little guy on the shoulder, you know, past words that stab you in the soul kind of thing, getting over that.
yeah,
Anyway, um, I and then looking at the numbers from where I was a year ago and to where I'm at today, I know it's growing. There's not a feeling. I can look at the numbers. I know that I've got a business that is thriving, and it's thriving. It's growing. I wanted last year was ramen noodles, beans and rice, and pork and beans and spam kind of year, and whatever I was
yeah,
growing in the garden. And um, this year I've eaten out a bit more, and
yeah,
I've had some good meals, and I've traveled a bit more, mostly work related, but I have traveled, get on an airplane, and you know, that wouldn't be possible if I wasn't growing a business. And I paid down a ton of debt this year. It's amazing. Like 2025, I know personally I'll be debt free. And
man.
that's a huge one. And I'm saving money too. Like, as you've coached.
Good
I'm
for you, buddy.
putting 25%. I've been set. Anyway, so it's like I know I'm a different person than I was a year ago,
Mm.
and I can quantify that.
Hey there. Hey, if you're loving the tips so far, be sure to hit that subscribe button right down there and then tap the little bell so that you never miss out on more free, cool tips coming your way. Also, I would love to hear from you. Drop a comment beneath there. Let me know what you think or tell me what you'd like to hear next.
What do you think? What's the one thing that's moved the needle for you the most?
Uh, so la- into last year, I reset who I was talking to, realtors. And I committed to whatever I have a good, pretty large list of realtors to talk to, qualified real estate agents. And I committed to requalifying that list every 90 days. But every 30 days, I'm also adding about 200 to 300 new qualified real estate agents to that list. So there's a lot. That's a big pool. They're in the queue for me to call. So I've set the number. I've set the number that I'm calling 42 outbound phone calls to new real estate agents Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And I think that's pretty aggressive for me, but I really want to I want to 10x my business this year. But I don't want to wait 365 days to do that. I want to do that in 90-day sprints. And then reevaluate every 90 days.
What do you think? Like, so let's say it's this summer,
Mm-hmm.
and you're now at a solid 15 loans each month.
Oh my goodness.
What are you doing different? And like, let's say you did it, man. Say, Nate, good for you, man. You just had your second month in a row at 15 loans.
Mm-hmm.
What, if anything, like what got you there?
Okay, so the way I look at a loan, the biggest impact that I can make on my income and my team's income is focusing on finding new business, whether that's with the new realtors or my past client database, the realtors database, communicating with those people to bring out new buyers and new sellers. That's a big piece of it. I've got complete support from my operations on the back end. So once I lock a loan, I can hand it off. So I'm not in the weeds chasing down documents and timelines unless there's, something wrong with maybe an appraisal comes in low or income's something messes up with the income. But half that's mitigated because I hired somebody on the front end, a loan expert on the front end to help me write the loans. And I say help me. I take the loan conversation introduction with the borrower and I hand it to her. She writes the loan and schedules a loan consultation with that borrower. I've got the notes, and we'll walk them through a loan consultation, and then they're off to go find their home. So I want to hire more parts to my business that free me up to spend more time with my realtor partners and with their clients, home buyers. That's where I see myself thriving. And if that means, so I want to hire, well, I'm doing this in small bits, but I want to grow them out. Like I've hired someone that does my marketing, and it's a little bit, but it's my marketing piece. I've got someone that does that. And I've got someone that's helped me on the front end of the loan, someone that helps me on the back end on the loan. And they're in complete control in that. And then there's other tools like MoveTube. I use that helps too. And so I guess I'm looking for who's, lots of who's.
Yeah.
That's a long way to short answers. I'm looking for lots of who's.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's just doing more of, I think you're on the right track. I think the things that you're talking about, basically, the thing that makes us the most money is simply having conversations and having conversations with the right people, like in your case, qualified referral partners, and then making sure that we have a call to action on all those people. And then, what I find is, increase of business is not linear. In other words, it doesn't go up at a steady pace. It goes up exponential. Like once it starts to increase, it feeds on itself and kind of snowballs, because like in your case, this month you're closing 12. And I know this is going to be a little simplistic and it might not work out quite this way, but that means you have 12 listing agents, 12 buying agents, 12 borrowers, 12 co-borrowers, 12 insurance companies. You already showed you how to get business from that. 12 title companies. And I get it. Some of these might be refinances and, we don't have the listing agent, and it might be a buyer's agent and you have 2 deals with 1 buyer's agent. But, when you have 12 different groups of people that's in the real estate business and just simply asking for more business from them, I mean, it's an exponential growth to it. So I think it's just doing what you're doing and just consistently looking at, is this a good use of my time, and only focusing on the things that's a good use of your time and not all the clutter work, which is what you're doing. So, dude, I'm proud of you. Hey, you mentioned a couple times about the Octopus marketing. Well, if somebody might be new to the podcast, what do you mean by that? What you're saying? Hey, I'm getting more business by using Octopus marketing. What is that?
Yeah, so think of the legs, the tentacles of an octopus. One of those tentacles would be all the things that generate business or referrals to you. So one of those for me would be MoveTube. So I'm helping real estate agents that have listings get their listings advertising on streaming platforms and social media. So that would be one tentacle. My daily success plan, that to me that's 4 tentacles. That's there's a different activity each day. So that now I'm up to 5. So and then I do my social media advertising on Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram. So I've got a nice, but I would say that's 2 more tentacles, because I'm doing some targeted advertising to real estate agents that happen to be on my call list. And then I'm doing targeted advertising to everybody that is potential, all my leads, my referrals, all the leads that real estate agents have shared with me, their past client database that they've shared with me. I'm marketing them. That's 3,500 people on that. So that's another tentacle. My phone call activity is a tentacle. My email campaigns is a tentacle. Let's see, texting, I do that lightly, but it counts. And so that's the octopus method. I'm probably forgetting something. So
but it's just this these different marketing activities and how they accentuate each other. Because like in your case, maybe you're reaching out and talking to these listing agents, and then you add them into your CRM and you start sending emails out to them, and maybe running social media campaigns to them, and so they're just getting through all these different platforms. They're hearing from Nate, and it's like it's like you're a local celebrity in your area. Well, apparently not just your area, but in multiple states, because of the way you do your business. So, well, I tell you, brother, it couldn't happen to a nicer person. Hey, let me ask you this: what's one thing that you've learned the last year or two as you're really starting to see your business grow? What's one thing that you've learned that somebody might be listening to this podcast that you'd say, hey, whatever you do, make sure that you're
consistent.
blank.
Consistency, consistent. Yeah. You can grow. I might find this out personally. So you can grow your business as fast as you want or as slow as you want, and you can tie it 100%. I think you can tie it to how consistent you were. And I've grown over, let's say, I think I've been a part of Mortgage Marketing Animals for right at 2.5 years. I've grown definitely. And I think the more consistent I am, the definitely I can see the growth. In this year, I'm focused. I've got the tools, and I'm focused that I will be consistent. I've learned that over and over. That's the thing that's been glaring at me, is consistency.
Good for you, man. Hey, well, as I wrap this up, Nate, is there something I should have asked you today that I didn't?
I think you should have should have known you're going to ask me that.
And
Uh,
maybe we covered it. Like, is there something like, oh, dude, Carl, let me tell you about insert in blank.
um, yeah. So here it is. So the daily success plan Tuesday calls. To me, the lending world, as a loan officer making phone calls, I never know where that's going to go. And we talked about the Miami play out there. I got a call last week, and it is a guy he is working with veterans nationally, and he just called me out of the blue and wanted to know if I did VA loans. I was like, I not only do I do VA loans, I'm a veteran and I'm expert at VA loans. And so he's been feeding me uh leads nationally. I don't know how he found me, but I know I've been doing a lot of outbound activity. And so good things have come back to me randomly. And I guess put yourself out there. I'm putting myself out. Y'all have got me doing a podcast. That's what I forgot. Podcast. That's one other thing I'm doing.
Well,
Um,
tell me about that. Tell me about your just real quick. Is your
real quick.
podcast is your target audience the consumer or other loan officers or the real estate agent? Who's the target?
My target audience is the consumer in the markets that I serve. And whenever I talk to real estate agents and I talk to community influencers. Community influencers is about that area, what they love about that area, and the organization that they support or whatever that is, whether it's a charity, whatever that is. The realtor, I frog them and record it. And it's an origin story all about them, what they love, what they're doing in their community. And it 100% origin story. And I turn that into a 30-minute podcast, and then I chop it up into Instagram and TikTok and Facebook reels. And I say I mean somebody else does that. So um and then from there I market that in that community. My goal, I tell these real estate agents, my number one goal is to help you make more money each month. And that's what I use that for. They love it. It hadn't brought me a lick of business directly, but it's new. And I think I got like maybe 18 recordings in queue right now. Um, so but the real estate agent loves it. It gives me a touch point with the real estate agent. And anytime you can get a touch point with your real estate agent, that's a win. That is a win.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it.
Good for you, man. And I know you work with Steve Kyles in the network.
Yeah.
And I know Steve, dude, Steve just loves you, man. He's always bragging on you, and he'll call me up. Dude, he'll say, "Hey, Carl, guess what, man? Guess what?" And it's insert in, story about Nate. So good for you, man. Nate, it's good to see. Sometimes nice guys, and when I say guys, I mean guys and gals, but sometimes nice people do win and have epic success. And brother, I couldn't be more proud of you. And it's just been an absolute honor watching you and your journey. So it's been really good stuff.
Thank you, Carl. I'm absolutely 100% grateful to you, Steve, Mortgage Marketing Animals, the network. If you're interested in the network, anybody can reach out to me and ask me about the network. I'm happy to.
How would they do that? What's a good way to get if somebody does have a question about what you're doing? What's the
Uh,
best way to do that?
NateCarver.com. It's my
So
website. All my stuff.
NATE Carver
NATCARVER.com.
.com.
Yeah, that's
Cool.
the best
And
way.
I go there and there's a button there, chat with us or talk with Nate or something like that.
Yeah, yes, sir. My phone number's there, emails there, everything's there. My whole life.
Perfect.
It's right there.
Social security number, everything's right
It's
there.
whatever you
So,
want.
credit report,
Uh,
Bitcoin account, everything's right there.
got
So
it.
NateCarver.com. Cool, man.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, Carl.
All right. Great stuff, Nate. Great stuff. Hey, you want to hear when you're ready to hear more about the daily success plan, and how perhaps you could see epic growth, just like what Nate has. Would love to map it out for you. If you just go to carlwhitealliance.com, 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 and set an appointment on the calendar, and we'll have about a 30-minute meeting. We'll just kind of walk you through some of this. So thanks for listening to the episode. Appreciate you being letting us be a part of your success story. And we'll talk to you when you call in, carlwhitealliance.com, and we'll also talk to you on the next episode of Loan Officer Freedom. Thanks again. Bye-bye.